So I'm going to build you a one-click system you can use to generate thousands of contacts in about 15 to 20 minutes. And the cool thing is that you can use this for any industry because the way I've set it up is flexible. You just change your filters and everything just works. And the goal here is simple. Give you guys something you can actually use, speedrun the lead gen process and get up and running as quickly as possible without overthinking it. And it's easy. Even if you've never built something like this before, you'll be able to pull it off because I'm walking you through it step by step. Now you can just copy this directly into your business and use it. Although I'd prefer you guys following along so you can actually learn how it works and modify it later. So let's do it. All right, so the system has to be able to automatically pull data from a lead sourcing database, and the lead sourcing database that we're going to be using is going to be Apollo, right? Now, a lot of people say that Apollo scraping is dead, and I'm here to tell you that you should not be listening to the crowd. You should not be listening to the noise outside because I'm going to show you a very simple way to actually make it happen. So pull leads from Apollo. If you're wondering what Apollo is, it's basically like a lead sourcing database, right? And the way it works is that they pull data, right? They have like a big stream of data that they pull from LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is basically the biggest hub where every B2B or B2C business just hangs, right? So they pull data from there, okay? And now if you want to get data from Apollo, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money, right? And I think it's just not worth it, right? But it's quite pricey to actually just pull the data because they only give you, they like just spoon feed you a bunch of credits a month. Now there are platforms that allow you to scrape Apollo, and the platform that we're going to be using is going to be Apify. Okay, so Apify is just like a marketplace for scrapers. Scrapers are basically just tools that allow you to extract data from the internet. In our case, we will extract the data from Apollo and we're going to do it automatically. Okay, so we're essentially just going to connect a couple modules in Make.com and we're going to make it happen. So Make.com is basically just like a no-code tool. Everything's going to be no-code. There's no coding like here required. So even if you've never done this before, you're just going to basically just plug a couple modules and you'll be good. Okay, so automatically pull data from Apollo. So once we pull from that, like that data from Apollo, well, we need to do some sort of like enrichment. Enrichment just means validating email addresses, cleaning company names. And the reason why is because when you pull data from any platform such as LinkedIn or like Apollo, the data is not going to be always accurate. Okay, because some people change jobs, some people's like email subscriptions are not paid, right, or like due. So we need to double check to see if the person actually exists and their email is actually valid and it's safe to send our outreach to. Okay, so step 2 is going to be system handles enrichment. Okay, like I said, enrichment is basically just adding more contact details, cleaning the data, right? Because the data is going to be scattered, right? Or it's not going to be properly organized. Okay, so system handles enrichment. So in terms of like this enrichment, the system is going to validate the emails, and also clean. So clean company names. The reason why we clean company names is that like when you extract data, like I said, or like any business on the internet in general, they sort of have like this LTD, right? LTD or like LLC, etc. Like a very, very long company names. Now, when you're outreach, well, let's say, for example, in your copy, you want to say, hey, I noticed that, I don't know, like Acme .inc, right? You do not want to say Acme.inc or like Acme.ltd. You want to say, hey, I noticed Acme, right? So the way we're going to do is we're just going to use AI to kind of just clean these company names, right? It's going to be very simple. I'm going to leave you all the prompts within the blueprints. So just copy and paste, right? So this is the second step. Now, the third step is we want to turn this contact into an actual outreach message that is going to resonate to them. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to use AI personalization. And it's not going to be like this cringe AI personalization that you see everyone just trying to write or trying to generate, but it's going to be 101. Okay, it's going to be 101, and we're going to use a couple methods, a couple prompts too, which is going to be very, very personalized because AI is going to be able to kind of like just read through their company description, what kind of specific technologies they are using, the industry they are in, and it's going to be able to kind of like just think and figure out a way to sound not pitchy, not salesy. It's kind of like just someone offering value, right? And it's going to get them to respond. It's going to get them to connect with you. It's going to get them to hop on a call with you, respond positively, and actually just pay you money, which is the ultimate goal, because we're doing the entire thing just to save us time, right? Because it's going to be streamlined and automated. And the second thing is to actually make money, right? To make loads and loads and loads of money, right? So that's the third step. Now, the fourth step is basically just plugging it into like a cold email software, which is going to be Instantly. Now, it's going to be very, very straightforward. Instantly, by the way, Instantly just like a cold email software that allows you to send millions of outreach messages per month. I'm going to show you how to connect this and make very straightforward. Okay. So this is kind of like the high level idea of what we can do this. Now, let's just go ahead and just start implement this. So since we are in Apify here, and let me just close this tab. All you got to do is just go to the search bar in Apify and type in Apollo. Okay, very simple. Now, the one that I want is going to be this leads finder, $1.5 per 1,000 leads. So as you can see, it's very affordable, right? So instead of like paying $49 or like $79 for like Apollo, just a spoon food you like a couple leads, we can just use Apify to extract those leads. Now, the way it works is that they essentially just copied Apollo's UI into their own scraper here in Apify. So it just works exactly how Apify, exactly how would you build like a list on Apollo, right? So you got a bunch of filters here. The only thing you have to do is just set up your filters, right? And the system is going to be able to handle everything automatically. So as you can see here, if we go to this manual, you can type in exactly how many leads you want to fetch. Fetch just means scrape or like extract. So for the purpose of this video, we're just going to put 200 here, for example. The file name, it's optional. You can just put whatever you want here. I'm just going to leave it empty. The job titles is where you want to put whatever you want. So in the job title, I have a couple ones here. The only thing you have to do is just add whatever you want, right? For example, you type in, I want founder. Okay. Let me add it, founder. You want to add again owner, for example, depending on the criteria that you want. If you want to talk to founders, owners, CEOs, right? Whatever you want, right? So you can add as much as you want, as many as you want. Now, in terms of like the seniority level, you can always use this filter. You can go by seniority, for example, head, manager, depending on what you want, right? Depending on the contact or the type of person you want to talk to. There's also functional level, which is C-suites, finance, design, education, which is really powerful. The location, this is kind of like the location that you want to go for. I always go for like these United States, UK, Singapore. I also go for Europe, etc. Well, depending on what you want, okay? So I'm just going to leave it as United States. You can also exclude some of the countries, but I believe that if you just put the location as United States, you'll be pretty good to go. Email status, always make sure it's validated, okay? So validate here. Validate it. Even though they say validate, we're not going to trust it because we have our own ways to validate emails, and I'm going to show you how. In terms of the size, you can put whatever company size you want. I'm just going to put 51. The only thing you have to do is basically just toggle and put whatever you want, okay? So I'm going to leave this here. Industry, this is the coolest thing here, is you can put any industry you want, okay? For example, I have information technology services, construction. I'm just going to put recruitment, staffing recruitment. Obviously, you can put whatever you want and add as many industries that you want. And the keywords, if you want to add like as many keywords as you want here, for example, I'm just going to put IT, for example. I'm going to put software, right? I can also put customer, maybe. So as many as you want. You can even exclude keywords, right? In terms of the revenue, this is something like that I highly recommend you guys do. Never go for like 50K or like 500K, 100K. You only want to deal with companies that are making at least $1 million a year. Because you want to sell them systems that actually solve real life business problems, and they should be able to have the money and the budget to pay you. So just don't waste your time in terms of like dealing with broke prospects. It was a mistake that I used to make, and I no longer make it. It was like a biggest shift that I had, is just increasing my prices and just talking to people who have money. Because as you guys know, you can't get $5,000 from someone who doesn't have $5,000, right? That's like the simplest way to explain this idea. In terms of the funding, you can definitely like play around with this. This funding just means like recently funded companies. It's a pretty good signal. For example, if a company got recently funded, which means they got money from investors, for example, it's Series B, C, D, that's a pretty good chance that they have money. But we're not going to use it just for the purposes of this video. The only thing we have to do is simply just click on Start. Okay, now we want to build a system that when we click on Save and Start, everything just happens automatically in the backend. So what we want to do first is let's, for example, launch it manually, and then we can go to mig.com and kind of like just start from the end. This is kind of like a way that I use in terms of like building systems is you always want to start from the end. Like, what is the end goal? The end goal is having basically like an outreach copy with clean data, contacts, etc. So we're going to start from the end, and then we're going to go back to the beginning, because in the beginning is going to be very straightforward. We're just going to launch it by clicking on Save and Start, and in the back end, a module is going to be listening for us, just waiting for us to click on Save and Start. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Save and Start, and then I'm just going to wait a couple minutes while the scraper is just getting the data for me. Okay, so if you go to the log here, you will notice that starting leads finder actor, searching for matching leads based on your filters. So essentially, that was very quick. 100 leads already found. So the way they do this is basically they just have their own magic in the back end. They essentially just go ahead. I believe they have like an AI agent that goes ahead and scrapes Apollo. I'm not really sure, but I would guess this is what they do. So we kind of like just got everything. We got the first name, last name, email. Took us like what? 33 seconds. That's an odd number, right? 33. It's a master number in numerology. So we got the LinkedIn, we got everything. That was done. It took us like what? 31 seconds. Okay. So what do we do? Where we go from here? Well, we're now going to go to mig.com, and we're simply just going to start with the end, right? So I'm going to create a new scenario here. It's going to be very, very simple. Create a new scenario. Let me check if I'm still recording. I am recording. Awesome. Let me go back here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to click on Apify. So you see this Apify here. The way you want to get it is just gonna search for Apify. And I'm going to look for get data set items. So get data set items. So it fetches a data from a data set, right? So what does that mean? Like, just like human stock? Well, Apify just has this module in Make, and it allows you to just kind of like just get the data from the last scraper that you used. And the way they store it is they store it in the storage. Okay, it's kind of like the RAM of the scraper. Only thing you have to do is just copy this data set ID. The data set ID is kind of like where the data is. Okay, the name, the ID. Okay, think about it like you have an ID that, or you have like a folder, and you name this data set ID, and this data set ID is basically the way you will able to access that folder. Okay, so the only thing you have to do is click on first on add. Okay, because I'm gonna have to show you how you can authenticate. So first click on add. You want to go to connection type, Apify API token. You can name this whatever you want. For example, connection name, I'm gonna name it Apollo system, for example. In terms of the API token, you want to go to the settings here. You want to go to API integration, just copy your API key. Okay, it's going to be different for each person. Okay, and you want to click on save. That's pretty much it. Very simple. Now we're going to go back to exactly where the data set ID here and copy it and simply paste this on here. Now, you see this data transformation. Always make sure it's clean. Format is always going to be JSON. In terms of the limit, just put 1. The reason why is you want to retrieve everything. You want to get you will get everything. Okay, the whole 200 that we just scraped, or whatever number you put to scrape. Now, you don't want to do that because 1, you're gonna waste a lot of make operations, and 2, there's no reason to, because you're still building the system, right? So you want to just manipulate the data, test it first, see how it works, and run the entire system on one record, then rerun the entire thing on every prospect, every contact, or every data that you scraped. This offset just means skip. For example, if I put 1 in here, right, I'm going to skip the first record, go straight to the second. We don't want that. I'm going to click on save and run once. So as you can see, we were able to get the email, etc. We get everything. We got the company technology. We got everything, okay? But there's a couple things here, right? If I go back to the output, we have a couple ones where we don't have the email here, which is totally normal. And another one where we don't have the company description. So we're simply just going to skip them, okay? So we're going to skip all the ones that are kind of like just don't fall within what we want, okay? So this is going to be get data. Okay, very simple. So now what we want to do is basically click on this plus button and then start the enrichment, okay? Because like I said in the beginning, we're going to start from the end. So what we want is we want to validate an email, okay, from this data set here. So the platform that we're going to be using is going to be an email finder. An email finder is basically like a platform that allows you to find emails, verify emails, etc. A bit pricey because if you go to the monthly, 2K is like 89, 5K is $150. But yeah, it's very, very good. And what I've done is essentially just copied their entire kind of like backend and I built my own one. And I simply just built this for people in my community. And the reason why I did this because I didn't want them to kind of like just break the bank by paying $150 every single month for an email finder, like verifying emails, because it's crucial, super, super important. You can't do any of this sort of stuff without having an email enrichment platform. Okay, it's crucial, right? So this is kind of like the same platform, right? So, and the way it works is you're just gonna log in. For example, I'm gonna log out from this admin dashboard, and I'm simply gonna go to my account, and I'm gonna click on verify email. I'm gonna show you how it works, kind of like a little demo. Copy this and I can just see if it's valid. Okay, so this email is valid. Okay, this is how it works. Now, I'm going to show you how you can do it in an email finder, right? It's very straightforward. You want to go to API. You want to copy this API key. You want to go back. And then you want to click on this plus button. Once again, you want to look for an email finder here. It validates an email. Okay, and what you want to do, you want to click on this plus button, paste in your API key, and then name this, for example, Apollo system. Okay, now it's done. The only thing you have to do is simply add the email here. Exists. Okay, perfect. Now, what we want to do is we want to add a condition. So only if the email exists and add end rule and company description. We look for description. There we go. Company description also exists. Let's run once. So the first one, like we didn't have the company description. So let's run, for example, the second record. There we go. Done. So email is valid. Awesome. So this is going to be verify contact. Awesome. So now we have kind of like the valid email. So what do we go from here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to clean the company names. So now we're just going to use AI to clean the company names. Like I said, you can use any AI model that you want. I'm just going to use Azure. Azure is pretty good. It's very, very fast. And the way I was able to get it is basically through Azure. I have a bunch of credits here. Now, in your case, you can use it, or you can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT, OpenAI, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So I have a couple prompts here that I'm going to share with you, and a couple of systems. So I'm simply just gonna copy it and paste it. That way you kind of like just have the source, right? Instead of me just trying to figure out or like come up with a prompt off the bat. Best way, just copy what already works. Okay. So the one that I want is gonna be, is gonna be here. And this fulfillment one. There's actually a member that I built him a system. He just closed like a $6,000 client, which is awesome. So clean firm names. This is the one. I'm simply just gonna copy this right here, right? Very simple. Highly recommend you guys always clone your systems. You don't want to waste a lot of time in terms of like building everything from scratch, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to put the company name here. There we go. Run once. Diversa, right? So Diversa. So it was the first partner, so it's Diversa. Okay. One more thing that we forgot to add, which is a filter here. So only want to pass through if the validation, right? Only if the email equals to valid. So it's going to be is valid, is contact valid. Done. Okay. And then let's name this clean company names. Done. Okay. Save this. Awesome. So what comes after this? Well, generating a high quality copy, or like a high quality personalized copy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through one of the best prompts that I found, which kind of like just allows, which kind of like just makes AI think about what could be the ideal customer of that company, exact words that they say, exact language, which is going to be super powerful. So like whatever industry you're going for, the prompt is going to do everything. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another Azure module here. Again, you can use any AI model that you want. I'm going to add my deployment name, and let me make sure that you guys can see. Yeah, I knew it. You guys need to, you can't see when I'm doing like when I'm adding like an AI model. So again, the only thing I have to do is this. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to walk you guys through it right now. Okay. So let me just copy it here, for example. Check out this prompt. So the prompt is very strict. Here's what we're doing. We're saying, hey, you must return a single sentence in this exact format. Notice company name helps dream clients at company size build a connector system that can enter you to the same role, similar roles, who specific frustrating problem they complain about daily. What does that mean? So this is kind of like placeholders. Now, AI is very bad at writing entire copies, but really good at when you give it like a bunch of placeholder like constraint, which is a placeholder, it knows kind of like the context, right? And it just fills the variable, okay, in like one tight variable. And I'm saying, and I'm simply just giving it rules. Use exact job titles. For example, HR managers, lab directors, store owners, not teams or like stakeholders. So AI doesn't hallucinate. Use specific company types, Series A biotech startups, mid-sized retail chains, growing law firms. Pain must sound like an actual workplace grips. Can't find decent lab techs for months, spend half of their day fixing broken registers, miss course deadline because hiring takes forever. So it's kind of like AI just doesn't give you bullshit. No corporate jargon, avoid capacity, like how people speak in LinkedIn, right? Shortages, gaps, challenges, bandwidth, resources. Use amperands to connect problems, make it feel more conversational. Avoid repeating the same job title. Use variations like directors, managers, owners. Be ultra specific. Name the exact role, exact time waste, exact headache. So AI is kind of like, this is very, very strong, right? Very powerful. And like I said, since it's just industry agnostic, well, you can feed any industry an AI using this prompt is going to output the best result. Okay. So I'm giving it also a bad example. By the way, when you give AI a bad example, like kind of you just teach it. Here's a bad example. Teams struggling with resource constraints. Good example. Store managers who can't hire cashiers fast enough and are working 70 hours covering shifts. Now, this is what a human actually talks in real life. Like we don't go to talk to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling with resource constraints. You're going to say, hey, I can't hire cashiers fast enough. Or like my cashiers are working 70 hours a week covering shifts. That's how you speak as a human, right? So that's what we're doing. And what we're doing here again is that we're feeding the company tech, which is from company technologies here, company description from here, and the company name, which is going to be, you guessed it, from the text response or the response from clean company name from Azure. Okay, save this, and then let's just name this 101 industry copy. Done. So what do we go from here? We're simply just going to run once and check this out. Check the magic. So let's read through this. So notice Diversa helps founders at venture-backed tech startups build a connector system that can enter you to CEOs who struggle to scale teams fast enough and spend months chasing top-tier execs. So let's read through their company description, right? So Diversa Partners is technology's go-to specialty firm that builds the executive teams for growth stage and venture-backed companies. We believe that the most successful companies achieve major breakthrough by acquiring extraordinary talent. So as you can see, AI read through the company description and kind of like just thought about what could be their ideal clients based on the company description and pre-drafted this amazing copy. And by the way, this copy is just industry agnostic. If you notice that we went for recruitment when I said it earlier. Now, if you went for any industry, for example, I don't know, like biotech, you want to go for IT services, accounting, whatever you want, like the AI is gonna kind of like read through the company description again and just write the exact copy specifically for that industry. As you can see, this is the offer, built a connector system that can enter you to CEOs who struggle to scale teams fast. So this is gonna help you guys a ton because a lot of people say, hey, I don't know how to write an offer or like good copy, like how can I say it? Well, here's the offer, built a connector system that can enter you to CEOs, because what you're doing is you're selling them connector sales systems that allow them to get access to ideal buyers and connect with their ideal clients at scale using sales systems, right? So that's the offer. Now, where do we go from here again? Well, we're simply just going to add it to a dream email, okay? So we're simply just going to add a tools here, set variable, and I'm going to name this dream email. This dream email is basically like the cake at the end, right? So we're going to say, hey, first name, I'm going to add a dash. The only thing I have to do is just add the copy here. And I'm going to say worth connecting you. That's it. Let's add sent from my iPhone. Now, check this out. So let's read through this. Hey, Paul, notice Diversa helps startup founders at venture-backed tech companies. So venture-backed tech companies. So AI didn't hallucinate. It's not going to use like a corporate jargony tone. Built a connector system that can intro you to CTOs who struggle to hire engineer fast enough and spend late nights debugging app issues themselves. Worth connecting you. Wow, that's one of the best copies. By the way, I would tell, by the way, if you just use this copy right now, you will get tons of clients, right? This is copyright because this is excellent. This is very, very good, right? And by the way, you can sell this system to any B2B business, right? Can use it to get yourself clients and also repackage it to sell it to other businesses because it's industry agnostic, right? You use it to get yourself clients and also you can also sell it for other people trying to get clients, right? So it creates this flywheel effect. So let's just name this 101 connector copy. There we go. Now, what comes after this? Well, simply just going to add this to Instantly. So I'm going to go to Instantly, right? Log in, see your Instantly account, and I'm going to create a campaign. I'm going to go add new. I'm going to name it Demo Apollo System. Done. So all I have to do is go back to Make here and click on this plus button, add Instantly. So it's going to be Create a Lead. The module that I want is going to be Create Lead. Okay. What you want to do right now is simply just click on Add. Okay. Let's click on this Add. You can name this whatever you want. I'm going to name it Apollo System, for example, V2, right? And the API key is going to be in your settings. You want to go to this button here, go to Settings, go to Integrations, go to API keys, go to version 1, and name this, for example, Apollo System. Scopes are always going to be all, and make sure to create. Click on Create and copy this, go back, simply paste it here, and you're done. Click on Save, and there we go. So now I'm going to get access to the campaigns within Make, okay? So I can manipulate instantly however I want. So if I click on Campaign ID, I'm going to get the name of the campaign, right? Which is going to be Demo Apollo System. So the email is obviously going to be the email here. The personalization is the entire copy. The website, we can definitely add the website, which is going to be websites, and make sure to add HTTP. And then the last name is going to be last name of the person. The first name is first name, and company name is going to be the clean company name. So let's just name this Add to Instantly. Done. Okay, so let's just run once, and we're going to add it to Instantly. Very, very simple. Done. So if I go to campaign, I'm going to go here, go to leads, and I already have my lead here added. If I go to personalization, I'm going to see they already have the entire copy here. All thing you have to do now is just add personalization variable, which is going to be here. In terms of like what subject line did I use, Saad? Well, you want to add intro or write intro for a company name. Awesome. Everything is good. Well, what do we do now? Well, what we need to do is just handle the rate limits, or kind of like the errors. So what I want to do is want to make sure to go to settings, make sure it's allow storing of incomplete execution. Make sure to click on the yes. I want to go to flow control and add a break module. So if like kind of like just any email finder or like instantly just rate limit us, the scenario is going to kind of like stop, like it's going to pause for like a minute or so and then continue where it stopped, which is very, very powerful. I want to link this here. I want to say interval between minutes, just 1 minute. Okay. I'm going to copy this again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste another one. Go back, delete this, and add this, for example, in Azure and also in an email finder. And let me just save and done. Okay, so there we go. So we just finished kind of like what's going to happen at the end. Well, how do we connect this in a way that we can just click on or set up our filters here and then everything is going to be good? Well, what we want is simply just add a module here, which is going to be Amplify, and it's going to be watch actual runs. I want to add this here. add this here, and connect this here. That's it, right? So you remember that here we have the dataset ID. Now we can get access to the dataset ID from this watch action runs. So you just want to look for data set, and there we go. So instead of like hard coding it, we can add it here as a variable. In terms of the limit, we're just gonna put 0, 0. Essentially just keep this empty, and then let's just name this watch scraper. Done. Okay. Save auto line. I'm going to show you how to authenticate. You want to click on this. I'm going to click on add. And let's just name this, for example, Apollo System V2. I want to click on add. Connection type, EPIFI API token. Go back. Go to settings. You want to go back to API integration. Make sure to copy this here. Your API token, same thing. Save it here. Let's name this Apollo System V2. Done. Click on save, and you will see that we'll get access to the latest scraper, right? Which is here, Leads Finder, which is, you guessed it, Leads Finder. So click on save and done. That's pretty much it. All you have to do, click on save, and make sure to toggle immediately as data arrives. There we go. Save, and then let's just name this Apollo. There we go. I just named this one-click Apollo system to get contacts and generate high-quality one-on-one connector copy. It's a pretty long name, but it's gonna help you a ton. When you download the blueprints, you kind of like know what the system does. So we're gonna go back here, and then the only thing we have to do is go back and essentially you just set up the filters however you want, right? So essentially, I can just edit what I want here, job title, whatever, right? But I'm simply just gonna click on start, and everything is gonna work perfectly. Okay. So the only thing you have to do is just click on start, set up your filters. For example, every single day you set up your filters, you get your coffee, and you just sit there and enjoy your coffee, right? Whatever you like. I like lattes, to be honest. I'm such a dark coffee and also lattes. I really like lattes. With like a chocolate chip cookie, man, that's like life, right? So the only thing you have to do is just, like I said, get your coffee and just chill while everything just works perfectly, right? Now, when everything is going to be finished, we're going to get everything here. Oh, so done. So check this out. There we go. Everything looks good. Perfect. Let's go back to our Instantly. Watching our leads getting added. Let's read through this. Notice Versic helps HR managers at Series A biotech startups build a connector system that can intro you to directors who can't hire lab techs fast enough and waste hours chasing underqualified candidates. Notice Key Tech helps clinical trial managers at Series A biotech startups build a connector system that can intro you to research directors who lose weeks coordinating site data and rewriting statistical reports. That's really good. So as you can see, we're adding everything here. Everything looks good to me. And the system is going to continue running until we finish the 200. Now, depending on how many leads you scrape or like contacts you scrape, it's going to vary, right? So as you can see, even if we have like an error here, it's going to take a break. Let's say it's mostly like a rate limit from like Instantly or whatever, but it's going to stop there and then continue where it stopped. Okay. So there we go. That's the entire system. You guys can copy it directly into your business and get up and running as quickly as possible. Hopefully you found the value in this one. And like I always say, get out there, take action. I believe in you. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.